So hello guys, welcome back to my channel. So what I have here today, finally on my channel too, is the 2023 Chevrolet Suburban LS 4x4 automatic. So yeah, this one is actually a special model because this is one of the base model Suburbans here, and this specific one is an imported model. So speaking of, I'd like to thank everyone here again at Chevrolet Makati in here in this specific part of the showroom with their luxury imports. There's actually a very special car that I'm trying not to show on camera because yeah, I can't stop looking at it. I've not driven this specific car beside me, but I've driven it already on my channel, so check it out. Back here with the Suburban LS, so it's a little bit special yet again because this is a base model. You know me, I'm a sucker with base models. Actually, this is a pretty rare color too, in sterling gray metallic. Being the LS base model now, there's a lot more chrome here and there. And speaking of hugeness, look at the side profile of this. It is much longer than that of the Tahoe Z71 specifically. And being the base model, as you can see here with the side mirrors, there's no repeaters or cameras underneath here whatsoever. But still being the base model, you still get big wheels and tires. So these are running on 20-inch wheels. And the ground clearance here itself is at 213 millimeters. You have LED lights still here and illuminated amber reflectors over here. Massive side steps over here. And yet again, a lot more chrome on the side profile. Powering this Chevrolet Suburban LS, well, it's exactly the same like with the rest of the Suburban and Tahoe lineup. And this one is powered by a 5.3-liter naturally aspirated V8 engine that produces 255 horsepower and 518 Newton meters of torque. So all models are powered by a 10-speed automatic transmission. So yet again, it is pretty huge, and I thought I would have had an issue closing the hood, but yeah, as you can see, it's quite a tall car. So here now at the rear of the Chevrolet Suburban LS. So here there's a lot of chrome here and there, especially here around the logo itself. You have a massive Suburban badge here. And two, on the side profile, you get LED taillights here yet again, and you get plastic bumpers here, but at least there's no fake vents whatsoever. Your spare tire is just underneath there, and as well before I went here in the rear, there's one functioning vent too at front. And two, being a base model Suburban, so surprisingly, this does not have an electronic tailgate, but opening the tailgate is not as heavy as you might think. So this is why you buy a Suburban in the first place, because of the rear extension. Wait, I'll put all of the seats up first. Yep, this is how big this car is. I can literally lie down here, even with the third row up. Oh my gosh. So wow, this is probably the biggest car I've ever sat in so far. So this is the space with all of the seats up. So this is around like more or less 500 to 600 liters of space. So underneath here, you have extra compartments, and then threading hooks on either side. And here on your right side, you have a 220 volt outlet. And then folding down the rear seats, well, this is why I got in the boot in the first place. Yeah, this is the disadvantage now of the Suburban being much longer than that of the Tahoe. Yeah, it's a quite hard reach. I mean, if you're like a 6-footer, yeah, you won't have an issue. But for me, being 5'4" only, yeah, you have to go all the way in. But at least folding down the rear seats is pretty easy. Just pull these guys down. Yeah. And the third row folds completely flat, even with the second row. So with the third row down now, you have 1,164 liters. And then folding down the second row, you have to do it in the second row itself. There's no mechanisms here whatsoever. Yeah, speaking of, there's no latches here on either side to fold all of the seats down, sadly, but it makes up for it. So this is probably the biggest boot space I've done so far on my channel. So this, with the third row down, you have a total of 4,106 liters. That is pretty incredible. So yeah, that's pretty much it with the engine, the exterior, and the boot of this Chevrolet Suburban. Wait, put you back because I need this later. And that's really cool too, even though when you fold all of the rows down, they fold completely flat. So yeah, that's about it. Let's check out the interior. So this is the interior of the Chevrolet Suburban. So here in the door card, yeah, it is pretty huge yet again, like that with the Chevrolet Tahoe. So at least, even though this is the base model, you still get leather soft pads here for your elbow and a nice wooden trim right over here. So this is the interior of the Suburban LS 4x4 automatic. I mean, it's not bad for what this is, given yet again this is a base model. So here on the left side, you still have that wooden trim yet again, and all of your light control functions, and then for your air suspension button. So actually pretty incredible that this base model still has air suspension. There's only one blank button here, but it's fine, I guess. And I find it weird that your electronic parking brake button is here too on the left side. So here in your steering wheel, it looks like every other Chevrolet. You have your cruise control functions on the left side and 2 forward collision warning, and then on the right side you have your instrument cluster and phone connectivity buttons on the right side. So as well too, where's that? Tilt and telescopic. Okay, very good. So a bit refreshing too that this being the base model, you have an analog tachometer and speedometer with a very small digital display right in the middle. And then here, now being the base model, yeah, the infotainment screen is much smaller than that of the higher variants, but at least you still have a lot of functions, including Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, so good job on that. So as well, the transition from what the apps here and there are really smooth. So similar to like with the Tahoe, the gear controls are right over here. So you have to push some buttons and you have to pull some of them, like reverse and drive, and then you have your manual mode here yet again. So in case you just want to floor it, and then manual mode. Yeah, it's a bit weird, but anyway, you're not gonna drive this very fast, unlike me. So below the infotainment system, you have a leather soft pad again, along with 2 air conditioning vents. And on the right side, there's a dune cubby space, along with your hazard button. Then further down below, you have your tri-zone climate control that applies to all of the second and third row. And then some radio functions over here, like for your tuning knob. And then way further down below, you have a cubby space, a USB-C port, a USB port, and a 12-volt socket. Then 2 cup holders over here. And then my favorite part with the with the Tahoe, so you have a central console box here. You can literally put a phone here just above, and then open this up. One of the biggest center console boxes I've ever seen. So there's an extra tray over here, and yeah, you can literally fit a lot of buttons and cans and a lot more stuff. And then here visually, to tell this is actually the base model Suburban, are the seats. These are just fabric, but I gotta say the quality, fit and finish still feels very premium, I have to say. But it's just weird, there's some parts here that are leather, like here on the door, center console, box, and the console itself. And on 2 here on the dashboard, let's not forget. But the one on the dashboard is a little bit more on the durable side of things. But sadly, they didn't apply some leather here at the seat. But that's just a small nitpick of mine. And then too, just saw now, in either side of the center console, there's like some cubby spaces here, so you can put your phones too. And then glove box. Okay, that's alright. Above here, you have your LED lights, and then you have some safety reminders over here too, which is cool. I'm not sure if this SOS button will work, that given this is an imported model. So sun visor, you have a vanity mirror with halogen lights, and of course, being an American Chevrolet, like with the Tahoe, very good, you have sun visor extensions. So yeah, pretty okay here in front, given this is again a base model. I kind of like this actually. So yeah, that's about here in front of the Suburban LS 4x4. Let's check out the second and third row. So this is the second and third rows of the Suburban LS base model. So here in the door card, it's exactly the same like the ones in front. Wooden trim over here, leather soft pads for your elbows. I hope you can see me. Oops. And then you have a lot of cubby spaces and cup holders on either side too. And then yeah, space here in the back is like monumental. I mean, feet room, knee room is like infinite, and then headroom pretty good too. So you get 2 map pockets behind both rear seats. So again, here the seats are all fabric yet again. And then here you have a central armrest with 2 cup holders and a cubby space for your phone. Fits my phone perfectly too. And then here in the middle, you have 2 cup holders with a cubby space, air conditioning controls, 2 USB-C ports, and a 220-volt outlet yet again. So if I sit here in the middle, no transmission tunnel whatsoever. And then yeah, spaces is just as good as in either left and right side of the seat. So speaking of this being a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8-seater, yeah, so sitting here in the middle, you won't have any issue whatsoever. So adjusting the seats here and to go to the third row is exactly the same like with the Tahoe Z71. So you pull this latch to move forward and backwards, 60-40, and then you have to pull this one twice to fold down the rear seats to one. So the second pull, I mean look, it folds down really flat to the floor. Then, oops. There you go, that's all the way forward already. What I've noticed just now too, there are a total of 8 dome LED lights here on the ceiling, and then you have 4 air conditioning vents here all around, and then space here in the back, since this is much longer than that now of the Tahoes in general, I have to say. So feet room and knee room, there's so much space here. This is one of the most spacious third rows I've ever encountered. I mean, even here in the middle, just as good. And yet again, being the base model, all of the seats here are all fabric. And then on either side of the third row, you have a cubby space, cup holder, and just above here, you have one USB-C port. So yeah, pretty basic here with this Suburban LS 4x4, but still there's a lot of amenities here, yet again, given that this is a base model. So I've said that a lot because, you know all me, if you're a long time viewer of my channel, I'm a big fanboy of base models with all cars. So yeah, so this being an imported model, this one costs 8,550,888 pesos. Here we go again with the 8. So this is just like 100,000 pesos just below with the Suburban Z71, which is locally available here in the Philippines. But given that price point, this is just like 100,000 pesos less already with the Tahoe Z71. Being honest, only that's the model I would go for. However though, if you want literally all the practicality, if you want to fit all of your teammates here and all of their equipment, a film crew, yeah, this is the Chevrolet to go for, because yet again, this is much longer than the Tahoe and you have more space here and there. So yeah, that concludes my walk-around review of the Suburban LS 4x4 automatic. I'd like to thank everyone here again at Chevrolet Makati here in this part of the show for the luxury imports division, and to Ma'am Jen for making this all possible. So hope you guys like and subscribe, and I will see you with a test drive of a Chevrolet vehicle. I'll put that link in the description down below. Bye bye.